Now, in today's lesson, we're going to draw the bottom 3 steps of a stairs. Now, first bit of information that you need is the rise. So we're going to use a rise of 180. We're going to use a going of 250. And then we're going to use then a nosing of 20. Now, these are the sizes that we're going to use when we're drawing it out. Now, we're going to draw this out scale 1:5. So, to start off this drawing, the first piece of the drawing you start off with in a stairs is you start off with the newel post. Now, the newel post is 100 by 100, and the height of it we calculate afterwards. So the first thing we're going to do here is draw the bottom of the newel post, bring up a line here, and then the inner line here, bring it up a certain amount, leave a bit of a space, and this line here, continue it on, but the thing is, continue it on lightly up along here. Now, next stage then is start positioning our risers. So, to position the riser, all you're told in the question is the rise is 180. Now, if we look at the drawing here, that means the rise from the top of the step down to the bottom of the newel post is 180. Now, what we have to take off is we have to take 25 away from that. The reason we have to take 25 away from that is to allow for the thickness of the thread. Because any time we measure the rise, we're measuring the distance of the riser plus the actual distance of the thread. So in this question, we're going to measure up a distance of 155 up, and that's positioned in 50 on your drawing. So in 50 on your drawing, you're going to position this. Now, that's the outside of the riser. Next, we'll put in the nosing. So to put in the nosing, we're going to measure out 20 mil, and you can draw this lightly to start off with. We measure up 25 mil, and then we're going to start drawing the top of the riser, or top of the thread. Now, to draw the top of the thread, we need to calculate out how far in this thread needs to go. Now, the measurement we're giving is going of 250. So, what we're going to do is first of all mark off the going. So the going is from the nosing here, the outer point of the nosing, in 250. That's as far as the nosing. Now what we're going to do is measure in another 20 mil. That'll give us the end of the thread. Now, the reason for the other 20 mil is from this point here to this point here, that's our distance for our going. Now we're measuring in another 20 mil here to allow for the nosing on the next step up here. So when we have this point here, we're going to measure up our 155 again. We're going to measure out our 20 mil. We're going to measure up our 25 mil. Now again, we'll draw it lightly to start off with. Then we're going to measure in our 250 plus 20. We're going to go up 155, out our 20, up our 25, and then we'll do the final one. And in this question you're asked for 3 steps, so we'll just start the 4th step. We won't be drawing in a full 4th step. So we don't have to measure in the full distance across here. Now, what we've drawn in the drawing here now is we've the outside of each of the risers and we've the top of each of the treads. So the next stage then is lightly draw in the bottom of each tread. And then if we measure 20 mil then for the back of each of the risers. So the risers are 20 mil, so we're going to scale 1 is to 5, measure out 4 mil, draw in, and what we can do here is we can draw in the back of each of these risers in heavy. Now, what we're going to do next, draw in the bottom of each of the treads in heavy. Now, when we've each of the treads and risers put in, we have to focus up now on how they're connected with one another. So, we'll zoom in on one of the pieces here. And see how we'll put in how they connect together. So, we'll draw this line in heavy here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this a tongue and groove joint. So to make it a tongue and groove joint, we're going to measure 10 mil, and from the outside of the thread measure 10 mil. Then we're going to measure down possibly 10 mil again. So on your drawing that's going to be 2 mil. And what we're forming here is a tongue and groove joint, showing how the threads and the risers are connected together. And this has to be done for each of the threads and risers as you go along. So measurements again from this point here up 10 mil, in 10 mil, and then back down. So this here is our tongue, and there's a groove taken out of our thread. Now when we're at this point we want to finish off the nosing. Now to finish off the nosing we'll draw it in freehand. Now the nosing of each of these threads will be rounded. Timber is never left with an edge on it because over time it'll get worn down anyway. So each of these threads here we just round it off, and we can do that freehand. And then we'll do the final one. And then we'll zoom out again, showing the entire drawing. And at this stage we can put in a nosing line. Now a nosing line is exactly as it sounds like. You connect all the nosings together and draw this red line here. And when it's done correctly, this red line touches each of the nosings here, and that'll give you the angle of the stairs, and that's how you see what angle the stairs is built at. the next step that we have to draw in here is we have to put in the top of the string and the bottom of the string. Now, the string, if I position a pencil here and position a pencil here, this here is the position of the string. Now, it's parallel to this nosing line here, and the distance for a typical dimension for a string would be 250 wide. So, to position this on your drawing, you take an adjustable set square, or you go parallel to this red line and bring out a line out perpendicular and measure out 50 mil on that line. So we measure out 50 mil here, draw the top of the string, and then we're going to draw the bottom of the string. Now, to draw the bottom of the string, we go perpendicular from the top of the string and measure down 250 mils. And then we draw in the bottom of the string, and the bottom of the string runs straight down to the ground. And to finish the very bottom of the string, just the newel post, bring a line straight over. So this is how the bottom of the actual string looks like. Now, the next stage then, when we have the string put in, we'll put in the handrail. Now, you'll notice here on the newel post, I haven't the top of it drawn in because I didn't know how far to go up. The distance for a handrail is up 900 mils. That's the maximum it can go up. So we're going to measure from the nosing line up 900 mils. Now, so it's right up near the top of the drawing here, up 900 mils. And what we're going to do is draw the handrail. Now, the handrail is placed in at the same angle as the nosing, because it has to be the same angle as the stairs. So, when we measure up our 900 mils, we draw this line here. That's the top of our handrail. Now, if we measure perpendicular on the handrail somewhere, measure down 50 mils, because that's the thickness of the handrail. Now draw on the bottom of the handrail. Now we can start finishing off our newel post. Now, to finish up the top of the newel post in this example, what we'll do is we'll measure up now we'll measure up 50 mils. Now, this measurement is not set in stone, it can be any measurement really. Now, we're going to measure up another 20 mil. We're going to bring a line across. Going to bring a line across from our 50 mils. So we've measured up here 50 mils, and we've measured up here 20 mils, or up 100 mils and then up 20 mils. Now, what we're going to do is put in a chamfer. So to put in a chamfer, we go 45 degrees from our 100 mil line up to our 20 mil line, and the same on the outside. And that's how we'll finish off the top of the newel post, with a simple chamfer. Now, that could be a sphere. Now, it could be, we'll say, any type of turning as well. It could be even carved, the very top of the newel post. But in this example here, we'll just draw it as if it's just a simple chamfer on the top. And that's the top of the newel post finished with. Now, moving back down to finish off underneath the steps. Underneath each of the steps, you have glue blocks and you have wedges. Now, the glue blocks are 50 by 50. So, to draw them in, we measure 50 mils horizontal, 50 mils vertically, and we'll draw in our line connecting them together. We'll do the same on each of these points here, 50 by 50. And we'll do the same on this top one here. Now what we can do to show the examiner these are made out of timber, we'll just mark in a few lines here, curves, just to show the end grain of these glue blocks. So we can see the glue blocks put in. The last stage underneath the steps now is to put in wedges. Now to put in the wedges, there's no set measurements for the wedges. So I'll just zoom in on a section of this and just go through it in a small bit of detail how we actually mark it in. And this can be used every time that you're drawing out wedges in this drawing. What we're going to do here, from the edge of the glue block, we're going to measure down here on your drawing here 1 mil. And from the outside of the thread here down 3 mils. Now that'll give us a taper. So when we're drawing this, it'll give us a taper to represent the angle at which the wedge is put in at. And obviously the top of the wedge is horizontal. So that's our wedge that is drove in underneath your thread to attach it onto your string. Now if we go through that again, we measure down 1 mil on your drawing here, which in real life would be down 5 mils, and this here down 15 mils. So we join them together, and then the top line then bring it out horizontal. Now that's how you draw in the wedges underneath each of the threads. So we'll do the final one down here. Now the next stage then is to draw in the wedges that are behind the actual risers. So the wedges that are behind the risers, again if we measure out 1 mil from the glue block here, and we measure out 3 mils here and use that measurement. And this time you'll notice that we're stopping it when it gets down to the bottom wedge here. And how that is done in practice is these vertical wedges are put in first, cut off, and then the horizontal wedges are hammered in and then cut off flush. So what we'll do, out 1 mil here and out 3 mil here, and the same with this one up here. And there are all the wedges put in place. Now there is no wedge put on the bottom step here, and the reason there isn't is this is attached onto the newel post, so there's no groove taken out of the string because this bottom riser is attached onto the newel post and not onto the string. All the other risers in the stairs are connected to the string. So again, out 1 mil, out 3 mil. That's how we get our angle here. So in full scale that would be out 5 mil and out 15 mil. Okay. Now the final stage of this drawing is to put in the balusters. Now to put in the balusters, very simply, balusters have to be maximum of 100 mils. So what we'll do is we'll measure 90 mils and make them 90 mils apart. So what we're going to do here on this drawing is from our newel post, to measure for the first one, we're going to measure 90 mils. Then we're going to measure the thickness of it. So the thickness of a baluster in this case is 40 mil. Then we'll measure our 9 mils across again. Then our 40 mils. And we keep going, 90 mils, 40 mils. Again, all this done to scale 1:5. So our 90 mils, 40 mils, now you can take a straight line across there, and then all that's left to be done in this drawing then is to draw up drawing these balusters. And then we'll draw in one final one. Now, that's our stairs drawing complete. Now, in the leave insert you might actually be asked to put in a few dimensions. Now, there's 3 key dimensions or 4 key dimensions that you can put in on this drawing. The first key dimension will be the distance between the balusters here. So we put in an arrow here, and we'll show the measurement there. Then another key measurement would be the length of the going. So we measure from one nosing to another nosing. I will write in the dimension for this. Now we'll mark in the height of the rise. Now, so in this drawing we'll write in the rise in this case was 180, the going in this case was 250, and then we'll write in max 100, the distance between the balusters. And then the final measurement we'll mark in is the actual size of the nosing. So in this stairs we made the nosing 20 mm. And the final stage of this drawing is just to label each of the parts of the stairs. So you'll be labeling the riser, the tread, and when you're labeling the tread, the only size you put down for the tread is the thickness of it. You won't be showing the width of it or the length of it, just the thickness of it. When you're marking the measurement for the string, you're going to write down string 250 by 50, that's the thickness of it. So the newel post will be 100 by 100, and that's just the thickness and the width of it. You never refer to the length of anything in this. Okay, so you just label all the different sections of this drawing. And the easiest way to do that is, for instance, if we take the newel post, write down number 1, and then on the sheet, possibly on this sheet along your left hand side here, start up near the top, write down 1, and preferably in pencil. It looks neater if you do it in pencil. We'll write in newel post 100 by 100, and then we just do the same for all the other sections of the stairs.